Welcome, welcome. Give people some time to get in here. Early stream today. I got some stuff going on this afternoon and tonight, so I got to jump on here a little bit early. Probably be a quick one, but we'll go over the basics here. Atlanta, or now known as EchoPark Speedway. We termed it on Stacking Denny's a couple years ago a pseudo speedway, somewhat similar to Daytona and Talladega. It's 1.54 miles, so obviously shorter than those two tracks. But these guys are going to be in a big pack tonight. It's going to come down to potentially fuel mileage and track position. Pit crews are going to play a huge part in getting cars to the front. Lots of drafting here, and we have to take a very similar approach DFS wise when it comes to Atlanta, as we do Daytona and Talladega, because it's pretty much the same type of strategy, except Atlanta has the tendency to have one or two dominators that we can kind of focus on dominators this week, but at the same time, place differential is still where it's going to be. When we're looking at this chart, we're comparing on screen right here. We're comparing starting position to finishing position. And, yes, Joey Logano's on the pole. Yes, we've seen him lead 140 laps here and win before. But the fact of the matter is, if he just falls back a little bit, if he finishes sixth, which would be a good race, he's got to lead a bunch of laps to even hit close to 50 fantasy points in DraftKings this week. So I expect Joey Logano to be decently high owned in tournaments this weekend, and I would definitely recommend being underweight on him. You should have exposure. You need, if you want to build with a dominator, one, maybe absolute maximum of two. We've seen dual dominators here at Atlanta before. The Penske cars are the most likely to dominate. So Joey Logano is most likely to dominate tonight. Ryan Blaney's up there. Now, he has not dominated as much at Atlanta as Joey Logano has, but he's up there. He could get up there and lead. It's certainly possible. Austin Cindric's up there. We've seen him lead plenty of laps here at Atlanta. He starts fourth, and then Josh Berry's on the outside pole. He could be an outside sneaky dominator there. Don't rule out Ryan Preece and Brad Keselowski. They're starting fifth and sixth. They could be some outside dominators, but for the most part, we're looking at place differential this week. We're focusing on that and maybe pivoting to some of the mid starting lineup guys when it comes to if you want to get different with your lineups, because there's a clear path to who is going to be the most picked tonight on this slate for the Quaker State 400. So make sure you look at this chart though, and it really puts into perspective the where drivers need to finish from their starting position in order to get if you're aiming for 50 or 60 DraftKings points per driver, you kind of need to figure out where that line is for people. So if they're starting 20th right here, he needs to finish 7th to get 50 DraftKings points. And we're not taking into account dominator points, no place differential or fastest lap points here. Just going off of place differential and sorry, did I say place? I meant laps led and fastest laps. We're just going off a place differential here and finishing position. To get to 50 points starting 20th, you got to finish 7th. To get there starting 21st, you got to finish 7th, 8th, 22nd, 8th, 24th, you got to get up to 9th. Whereas to get to 50 points, base points from a top 6 starting position, again, we're not taking into account dominator points. It is impossible for the top 5 starters, even if they win the race, to get to 50 base DraftKings points today. The most or the first driver that can is the guy who starts 6th, which tonight would be Brad Keselowski. If he wins, he gets 50 base DraftKings points. like I said before, the guy starting 22nd, if he finishes 8th, gets 50 base DraftKings points. So that's how you have to look at this. Starting in the back tonight, we got obviously David Starr is I would not recommend playing David Starr, even though we have plenty of upside with place differential there. That car is just so bad. The only way that he is moving up is if there is a massive wreck and half the field wrecks, and then he's still going to be the last car of those running, the slowest car. That car is just so bad. But pretty much everybody else is on the table to be picked tonight. We got Cody Ware starting 39th, BJ McLeod starting 38th. Here, I'll switch over to the screen I'm sharing quick. One second here. Okay. So we got BJ McLeod starting 38th. We got Stenhouse, who finished top 5 here last time, starting 37th. Connor Zilish with he could be an under-owned guy back here that, could be a tournament play because nobody really knows what to expect out of him. The expectations aren't high. So despite the place differential upside for him, most DraftKings players are going to go toward some of the more popular names back here. SVG is another guy that probably won't get the ownership that he deserves or should have starting 35th. He notoriously does not like super speedway racing, but it would not surprise, like anything can happen in Atlanta. So that's not a reason to not pick him. Ross Chastain should be very highly owned tonight. He's very good here at Atlanta. He starts 34th. Denny Hamlin starts 33rd. Obviously, it's Denny Hamlin at a drafting track. He's going to be high owned back here, starting 33rd. We got McDowell starting 32nd. Suarez starting 31st. Hocevar 30th. Hocevar was a contender to win this race in February. Got Kyle Busch, who's been great here at Atlanta in the next gen era. He's starting 29th. Christopher Bell, who won this race in February, starting 28th. Got Eric Jones starting up there in 26th. What this is and what we're doing tonight is essentially putting a puzzle together and trying to figure out the best way to put it together and also trying to be a little different is the best way I can put it. There's so many options to go through here that you can throw names in a hat and put them all together at this point with all that place differential. But I'm really kind of looking at, basically from William Byron through Noah Gragson, that 18th to 27th range is what I'm really interested in attacking tonight. I think there's some good plays in there that have similar upside that I think William Byron can win this race. William Byron, if he gets up there, I think he can dominate this race. But I think those guys are going to be under-owned compared to all the guys starting in the back. And not to say you don't need a good amount of exposure to those guys starting in the back, but to be a little different, just adjust to those guys starting 18th to 27th. Chase Elliott, always good here. He starts 15th, not a bad pick at all. And then you got guys like Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson. They could get up there. It's just when you're moving up into that top 15 starting spots, it gets a little tougher to hit value there. As far as, I got a question here. Optimal lineup does not have a Penske car. I like it, but no Ford. I agree with you. I think, from what we've seen with this Atlanta race is that more than likely Joey Logano or one of the Penske Fords are going to lead 80 plus laps tonight. The line set for a single driver number of laps led tonight is 90 and a half. Last time I checked on, I believe Caesars. It might've been on ESPN or somewhere, but with that being said, DFS wise, I would rather, I trust my projections, and my projections include a decent chunk of dominator points for Joey Logano. And like you said, he's not in the optimal. He does show up if you run the projections. Let me run 150 lineups here quick. No changes, nothing messed at all. I literally just threw in my projections and I'm running it. for 150 lineups. Joey Logano ends up showing up. Let me see here. Cindric is at 11%. Joey Logano is at 5%. Blaney's at 3%. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Cindric in that 10 to 15%. If you're building a ton of lineups, 150 plus lineups, 10 to 15%, perfectly fine with. I'd get Logano probably in that same range, 10 to 15%. Blaney, I'd go about 10%. And then Josh Berry, if you want to get some exposure there, I don't mind that either. He's shown his ability to lead, but most likely we're looking at a Logano if we're going to get one guy to lead a bunch of laps. But at the same time, you can build plenty good lineups tonight without a Penske car, and I don't feel like it's necessary at all. So I know the mindset, and we're drilled into DFS and needing, the dominator. Atlanta, it's just not as necessary because you know what? If Logano goes out there and leads 130 laps and then blows a tire with 5 laps to go and finishes 34th, he's not making the optimal lineup even with all those laps led, because he's not going to get fastest laps by leading. That's another issue, because like at typical mile and a half or typical intermediate tracks, the leader has much more likely to get fastest laps with that clean air. That's just not going to happen tonight at Atlanta. The fastest laps are going to be with guys in the middle of the pack that get a good run. So if we look at the February race this year at Atlanta, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had the most fastest laps with 13. Chase Elliott had 11. AJ Allmendinger and Michael McDowell both had 10. So that's about the cap of where we're going to get these fastest laps from people. Going back the 7 races at Atlanta in the next gen era, the highest number of fastest laps in one race was Chase Briscoe in the very first one with 17. Josh Berry had 16 in the 2023 first race. Chase Briscoe had 15 in the 2023 first race as well. Carson Hocevar in the summer race last year had 14. But you get the point. Like, there's not a concentration of fastest laps because they're so far spread out. So, yes, I agree with you. Definitely need some Penske exposure, but I'm not seeing it as necessary whatsoever tonight. How much money would you leave on the table when building? There is no limit. I am perfectly fine. Let me get to present this DraftKings or share this DraftKings screen. So see here. You could build a lineup if you went like, you don't even have to go down this far, but if you went like Gregson, Jones, Stenhouse, McDowell, Chastain, and Hocevar, I mean, you're leaving $7,400 on the table with that, and I have no problem whatsoever with that lineup. So I think you can go both ways. I think there's opportunity. My optimal projected lineup leaves 600 on the table. This lineup leaves 7,400 on the table. My second highest projected lineup leaves 1,600 on the table. Let me see here. Lineup number 8 leaves 2,400. See if there's any really low one. But then, like, my 12th highest projected lineup tonight is a full 50,000. It goes Chase, Bell, Kyle Busch, Chastain, Stenhouse, and McDowell. So you can go either way. There's so many ways to go tonight. That to me, this is a great time to have an optimizer and just crank up the randomness and put a couple rules in, where you don't want more than one driver, maximum of two to start higher than 15th, and just let it rip and hope for the best and enjoy the race. This is a great race to put a little bit less thought into DFS lineups. Obviously, there's still still got to put some thought into it. Guys that you want to be overweight on, or structure it that way. But it's a great week to let the optimizers do their thing and then just enjoy the race. Check your exposures, make sure they're where you're at, and go. Yeah. By the way, summer sale is still on at rotoballer.com. You get if you get my package specifically of just my content, use code SUMMER, you'll get the rest of the season for $53. That is, I know I'm biased, but that's a damn good deal. That's close to unbeatable. So make sure you check that out. Summer, use code SUMMER. You're going to get 60% off. So make sure you check that out. Jones or McDowell, who do you like better? Find that being your last guy in. Personally, my projections like McDowell better, and so do I. Let me get this up quick. So my projections don't even have it close between Eric Jones and Michael McDowell. If you want to differentiate yourself and if you're trying to take down the big prize tonight, and that's your last guy in, depending on how chalky the rest of your lineup is, I'd probably go Jones. But like I said, my projections really like McDowell. I like the fact that McDowell, he's been putting up fastest laps at super speedways this year. He had 10 here at Atlanta in the first race. He had 12 at Daytona, 6 at Talladega. If he can maintain that pace, it's it kind of gives you like a little bit more incentive, and including the upside with him starting 32nd. But like this lineup here is very chalky. So Chase Elliott's going to be decently high owned. Christopher Bell, he won here the first race, going to be high owned. Kyle Busch has been really strong here. Chastain and Stenhouse both really strong here. So if I'm doing a lineup like this, I'd probably take like a McDowell off or one of the chalky guys off and just pivot to someone like an Eric Jones. I don't mind going to Eric Jones here at all. Yeah, potentially do something like that. Do Eric Jones there. And just to have some Penske, I might go up here to Cindric. Go Cindric, Bell. I kind of like the idea of Chase Elliott though in a line like this. So let's go Cindric, Chase Elliott. I think people are sleeping on Tyler Reddick tonight. Something like this. Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick. Ross Chastain, Connor Zolish. And Eric Jones. Yeah, I think in the first race, McDowell had something happen to him, and he went like what 8 laps down, and then he got them all back and ended up. I forget where he ended up, but he finished the race and got all his laps back. So, I mean, just from a strategy perspective, you have to consider Jones as well. I wouldn't worry about the previous broken part. Like that's not gonna. I don't see that as an issue or a recurring thing. Optimal projected lineup today is William Byron, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Carson Hocevar, Stenhouse, McDowell. Super chalky. But even in this spring, yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy. Like Eric Jones is a good driver, especially on super speedways. He's not. I mean, Talladega is one of his best tracks, and has been. Oh, is in qualifying this week, McDowell broke something. I saw that he hit the wall. I didn't see that he broke anything. I assume they'll just fix it and he'll go to the rear. That's not a big issue at all. See if I can find any tweets on it. Instead of Byron on this lineup, I'm gonna go Justin Haley. I think Haley's one of those slept on drivers tonight. I can't find anything about McDowell posted. Like I said, if he broke anything, um, yeah, the only tweet I can find is from Steven Taranto. I don't know how to pronounce that, but Michael McDowell had something go wrong on his qualifying lap. From the TV snippet I heard, it sounded as if something had broken on the 71. Team was still at their car in the garage last time I went through there. Don't know where they were/are work wise. So yeah, I'd assume if anything broke, they're gonna replace it. They're gonna fix it. He'll go to the rear. Won't be a big deal. He'll be fine. I'm not concerned about that. Let's see here. Let's do a lineup here with Logano. So let's go Logano, and let's assume that he dominates this thing. Have not put Hamlin on a lineup yet. I said there's so many options to go with this week. Let's go Hamlin, Reddick. Let's go Bubba Wallace, I'm going to go Hocevar again. Come on, go Haley again here. I don't know. He always does at Atlanta. Hamlin, that is, and being slow in qualifying. I can't quite figure it out. I think part of me wants to say that they set up the car more for him to race well, and that's why I'm just creating a theory here. This I have nothing to back this up other than my own thinking. But I want to say maybe they set the car up for his liking in the actual race itself and don't really care about qualifying, because you look at this is the third race that Denny Hamlin has started outside of the top 30, third race in a row that Hamlin has started outside of the top 30 at Atlanta. 33rd this week. He was 37th in the spring, and then last fall he started 38th. In the next gen era, he has never started better than 13th at this track. So I think I want to say that maybe they set the car up for his racing liking, and then don't just doesn't have the speed in qualifying. I'm gonna switch Hocevar out to let's go Suarez here. I think. Do I want to go Suarez or do I want to go? Sorry, just a second. Send text. All right, I'm gonna lock this lineup in. Go. Logano, Hamlin, Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley. Got some Toyota action there with the 2311 cars. Reddick and Bubba got Hamlin with them. Hocevar and Haley teammates at Spire, and then Logano the Dominator. Kind of my thinking there. Paint scheme of the weekend has got to be Ross Chastain's, right? That Wendy's. Yeah, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch paint scheme isn't awful. I still think Wendy's has it beat. I understand the hype behind the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It doesn't like immediately pop up to me as a great scheme, if that makes any sense. All right, with the second Logano lineup, we're going to go Logano, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, Noah Gragson, Daniel Suarez. You could easily do a full Trackhouse lineup this week and build from there. Go Chastain, Chastain, Suarez, Zilish, and SVG. And then take your pick of who else you want to go with. I'm gonna roll Stenhouse and maybe let's do Byron Chase Elliott on this one. William Byron Chase Elliott, and then the Trackhouse cars: SVG, Ross Chastain, Connor Zilish, and why am I blanking? Daniel Suarez. I feel like nobody's talking about Daniel Suarez that much this week, despite the fact like he's been so good at this racetrack. He obviously he wasn't good here in the spring, but other than that, he has been top notch at this track. Not to mention Chastain is really good here. So I don't know if people are sweeping on Suarez or if he's getting lost in the shuffle here with all these guys starting in the back, but Suarez is a great pick today. Starting 31st. Run the optimizer here a little bit. Get some lineups with the randomness cranked up. See if there's any that catch my eye. As always, if you have any questions or starter builds that you want to run through, throw them in the comments. I'm gonna lock this one in. Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Corey LaJoy. Remember, Corey LaJoy is driving that 01 for Rick Ware Racing tonight. He's been solid here at Atlanta. Obviously, a little bit of question marks with that equipment, but nothing goes wrong there. That's pretty solid. I didn't know. Do you have to opt into that? The most Hard Rock will let me bet is $20. But I haven't really looked at the race odds and where Barry is. It looks like he's 25-1 at Caesars. That's the best. So yeah, if you like Barry, getting him at 30-1 with that boost is a solid. I'm not seeing the boost in my account. I'm not sure how to get to it, but still, even so, the 30-1 isn't awful. Better than yeah, $20. That's all I can get down on any. Oh, it's listed as a UFC boost. Yeah, I can't bet more than $20 on any bet on Hard Rock. And it's probably because I destroyed them in. I don't even see the 17%. Or yeah, I don't even see that boost. When they would have live betting, I took quite a bit of money from Hard Rock. And then they just limit me to $20 now. Which it is what it is. Can't do anything about it. But yeah, good catch. It's always a good idea to check if you're looking at race win odds. Also look at team odds, because for whatever reason, sometimes you can get even better odds on drivers or teams. You know, whether it be the entire team or a single car team like that, than the single driver. All RFK. There's not enough place differential for me to go all RFK. I'd do like a Keselowski. Start with Keselowski and maybe a Buescher. Go something like that. Throwing a Michael McDowell here. Give me Denny Hamlin. And again, then it's just you're putting the rest of the pieces together depending on what you want to do here. I'd probably go just looking at my exposure here quick. Give me Noah Gragson and I'm gonna go Stenhouse. Actually, give me Chastain. Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna go Suarez instead of Chastain. Pivot off of Hamlin down to Chastain. There we go. McDowell, Chastain, Suarez, Gregson, Buescher, Kez. And you got to hope here that Keselowski leads laps and finishes up front. I do think, I will note, I think it's too risky to go Buescher and Kez. I'd probably go one of the two. But I'll lock that one in. Toyota build, that's a good one. Plenty of Toyota options. So I'd probably go I'd go Hamlin, Bell. Hamlin, Bell, Reddick. Bubba. Eric Jones for sure. I don't really want to go Briscoe. I don't really want to go Ty Gibbs starting 16th. I might jump down to I'd probably go with those 5 and then hit something else. Give me Stenhouse with those. So go. Yeah, Hamlin, Bell, Reddick, Bubba, Jones, Stenhouse. And again, you could do small little changes to every single one of these lineups. Switch out Stenhouse to McDowell. Switch out Stenhouse to, or switch out Chastain to Kyle Busch and vice versa. Or switch out any of those guys to Hocevar. Like there's so many options. And that's what makes building lineups for Atlanta fun, but also can be like you need to take a stand somewhere. So Austin Cindric intrigues me. Logano's led the most laps here in the next gen era, but Austin Cindric's second. It goes Logano, Cindric, Byron, Chase Elliott as far as laps led. So I think instead of like, if I'm picking between Logano and Cindric, I would think I'd want to go Cindric over Logano, just from a pure strategy point. I know Logano's on the pole, but I think Cindric's going to be significantly lower owned than Logano, so I'd rather pivot to Cindric. AJ Allmendinger's pretty strong here at Atlanta. The 21st place starting spot makes it a little bit difficult to go too heavy on him, but I like him in tournaments. So let's go with this one. AJ Allmendinger. Instead of Chastain, I already have a ton of Chastain. Instead of Chastain here, I'm going to go Carson Hocevar. Oh, I already got him on there. Instead of Chastain, I'm going to go... Shit, I wish I could get Reddick. I'm going to go Suarez. So, got Byron, Cindric, Suarez, McDowell, Allmendinger, Hocevar. Somebody that could win this race that wouldn't surprise me, but would surprise everybody else. I don't know. I feel like everybody's kind of talking about everybody here. You could make a case for pretty much the entire field. Give me Ty Gibbs. Led 37 laps in the summer race last year. Let's do one with Blaney and Cindric here. Actually, I'm going to go just Cindric on this one. Yeah, I want to see someone win. Like, I want there to be playoff chaos. I want a new winner tonight. And I want it to be someone like a Keselowski that's deep in the field, or in the standings, or any of the surprise guys in there. Like, give me a Noah Gragson win tonight, and I'll be happy. I feel like we need to do a lineup here with guys that are going to be under-owned compared to their upside. So staying completely away from the chalk, but having a good amount of upside here. Yeah, a Gragson win would be incredible. I don't have any money on Gragson, but love to see it. Something like this. Like, to me, there's so much upside here. Maybe not enough guys starting super deep in the field, but there's so much upside here that certainly this is going to be a unique lineup. But you have good drivers that have performed well at Atlanta, like that are underrated. Eric Jones, Noah Gragson. Reddick is a decent super speedway racer. Where is this at? Zilish, Jones. Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick might end up being one of my favorite plays on this slate. An Austin Dillon win would certainly fit the mold of shaking things up for these playoffs. Are you talking about the brake issue from last week? Or is there a brake issue this week that I didn't see? Yeah, that brake issue shouldn't carry over here. Just see a lot of brake issues at Pocono for whatever reason. Bubba Wallace especially has had significant recurring brake issues at Pocono. Remember that one year his brake failed going into turn one. He hit that wall going 200 miles an hour. For 150 max contest, yeah, I'm just doing optimizer. Limiting, like the optimizer is automatically throwing in Stenhouse, Chastain, McDowell, Kyle Busch, and so many lineups that you have to manually adjust those down and limit those. But to me, use the optimizer, crank up the randomness, and then go. But like, I like doing both. I like hand building for this as well. For those, especially the single entry, I wouldn't use an optimizer for single entry or 3 max, because those are the ones where you can. The chalk is going to be even chalkier in those lineups. So, or in those contests. So that's when you're able to differentiate yourself there. Hand building really helps you do that. I feel like we can also build lineups this week that leave so much cap on the table, even though they're chalky. And they might not get fully, or like there's a higher, not significantly higher, but there's somewhat of a higher probability of having a unique lineup and all that if you're using significantly less cash or cap. So even something like this, you go Busch, Chastain, Suarez, Stenhouse, McDowell, Eric Jones. At least 5,000 on the table. Again, super chalky. Maybe if you don't want to go that, you pivot off of one of the other super chalks in this and hit like a Gregson or someone like that. But certainly playable. Instead of Chastain, I'm going to go Reddick on this. Actually, I have quite a bit of Reddick already. I'm going to go down to Bubba Wallace. So go Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, Eric Jones. Oh, shit. Actually, I'm going to go Hocevar over Suarez. And maybe someone else over Jones. I'm just trying to limit some of my exposures here. I'm going to go Gregson. Yeah, give me Gregson on that one. So Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, and Noah Gregson. Woo. Go Byron. Byron, Kyle Busch, Suarez, Stenhouse, Allmendinger, LaJoy. Never done NASCAR DFS before? Well, if you're starting this week, this is a fun week to start because there are so many. You don't have to really know anything about NASCAR to build lineups for this race. So what you're looking to do here is pick guys that are starting deep in the field that and hope that they move up. So if you're just playing for the first time and you literally want to just click buttons and roster whoever's name sounds fun, I'd probably recommend, guys starting like the further back they start, the closest to 40th that they start, the better. But literally just put your lineup in. I wouldn't start anyone higher up than 18th. Is probably the best way to go. And yeah, you can have a lot of fun with this race, and your winnings and everything is going to change every single lap, most likely because of all the changes in it. And yeah, Jeremy's right. It's the best DFS sweat there is because everything can change in one lap. Draft or football and everything else, like they're not going to take away a touchdown. They're not going to take away your points. Once you get those, I understand that football is a fun sweat and the other sports are a fun sweat, but I would put NASCAR up there against all of them as far as a sweat for DFS. So this is a good week to join. I definitely don't have enough Hamlin exposure with these lineups I've done on here, so let's get some Hamlin ones here. Go Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell. Let's throw an SVG on there. Let's throw Logano on there. Actually, Cindric. Give me Cindric. So Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell, SVG, and Austin Cindric. Again, I think just because of the ownership, how I'm projecting ownership tonight. If I'm going to lean towards a dominator, and I'm not sold that you have to, I think I'd rather go from a strategy perspective, go with Cindric over Logano, despite the fact that Logano starts on the pole. I'm gonna be. I want to say Logano. I'll just roll with Logano, but I have no. It's so wide open. I don't have any particular reasoning. That's frustrating, but that's the DFS NASCAR sweat, right? First place with 20 laps to go. And it only ended up with $44. Like that's, and I think Chromehorn, first place in Chromehorn is 20,000. Well, yeah, it's right there on the screen, but Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, and Justin Haley. I agree. Logano obviously most likely to dominate just because he's on the pole, but if Cindric can easily get up there, and he likes to ride around and lead as well. So I'd much rather go Cindric than Logano as far as dominators go. Yeah, stacking manufacturers is solid. I would not recommend stacking Fords. At the very most, I would do two of the top potential Fords, but they all just qualify so well at these super speedways that it's hard to. The only one that didn't qualify, we're not including David Starr. As far as I'm concerned, that car is just, I don't even know. But Gregson's a decent Ford for place differential, starting 27th, and then LaJoie's 25th. So you can run with them. Todd Gilliland is an interesting one, starting 17th. He's led laps here before. So if you're looking to stack Fords, I mean, I would definitely stack them, but I wouldn't go more than one or two of the top qualifiers. Speaking of Gilliland, I don't have any lineups with him. I also don't have enough Bell. Right now, I only have one lineup with Bell in it, and it was that Toyota line. All right. Todd Gilliland, AJ Allmendinger, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Connor Zelish. Yeah, I think Dinger's really good here. I don't think he's finished worse than 16th, and he puts up fastest laps, which, again, not predictable here, but with him starting 21st, he should be mid-pack for most of the day. Let's go Byron Elliott, Christopher Bell, excuse me, Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar, Corey LaJoie. I haven't set my Buddha lineup yet. I got a dummy lineup in for the rest of it right now. Oops. Let's go Christopher Bell. Curious to, I always say that with this next gen car, we see a lot of the same stuff happening. So, top finishers in the first Atlanta race this year were Christopher Bell, Carson Hocevar. Kyle Larson finished third. Ryan Blaney, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Denny Hamlin. Could do something like this. Bell finished first. Hocevar finished second. Kyle Busch finished seventh. Bubba finished ninth. Stenhouse finished fifth. And Hamlin finished sixth. Yeah, I'm always just annoyed because I feel like every lineup I make for the Buddha contest this year is jinxed. It's kind of like my picks to win on Stacking Denny's. Just fucking jinxed all year. But like you said, it's tough. That is a tough group of guys to go up against. Hamlin, Bell, Reddick, Chastain. Suarez, Eric Jones. Moved on me. I'm going to have to hop off of here in a little bit. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments and I'll get to them. Got two more lineups here. These fucking ads. All right. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, William Byron, and Noah Gragson. Damn it. I don't know if he qualifies shitty on purpose because I think he would do it if he got the attention. But he really doesn't get the attention of him qualifying bad, so it doesn't really benefit him or his story to do that. Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, Bell, with Joy Stenhouse. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Don't mind that one bit. I am going to switch Stenhouse to McDowell though, just because I want to adjust my exposures here. But that's a good final lineup there. Gets the 20 for the stream, and good timing here. Reddick, Bell, Dow, Corey LaJoy. All right. I gotta hop off here. Good luck to everybody tonight at Atlanta. Remember, don't overthink it with Dominators tonight. We're still doing place differential. Let me see. Race is like at 7:30, I think, is the green flag time. But yeah, thanks for joining, and good luck tonight. See you guys.